Barron's racers, I was actually looking at Barron. I've always loved the snakes that have like the teal blue coloration, and obviously Barons have that. And so I was questioning whether I should get a Barron's rat snake or a Japanese rat snake, and I ended up getting a Japanese rat snake, which I totally love. I mean, he's still just like a little gray hatchling, but it's still a lot of fun. But the Barons was definitely up there as another animal that you don't see a lot of, but they should be more popular than they are, because it's another kind of a smaller species, but they're beautiful. And I mean, you work with them, so
the rhino rats are smaller. The Barons, believe it or not, they get huge.
People really
realize it? Yeah, I don't know if people realize it. People are catching on to how beautiful they are, and I see a lot more people keeping them now. But I just lost a female last year who was 7 feet 7'6". Essentially.
Wow. Okay, maybe that's the reason why I didn't go with them then when I started looking at the sizes.
Yeah.
Now I'm trying to remember, but okay, that's a lot bigger than I remember looking at.
Yeah, she might have even been 7'10" when I finally measured her after she passed away. She might have been 7'10".
Wow.
They get massive, and they are essentially a racer. So they're a lot more active and maybe neurotic. I don't know if that's the right word, but if you keep them in a small enclosure, like they're going to rub their face down. Like if I could keep all my Barons racers in 12-foot enclosures, that's what I would do. And I might try next year or later this year to house them outdoors. I don't know quite how they're going to do it in this climate. The climate that they come from is very similar to the Sonoran Desert. So it can be very hot and very dry, also very cold, but it does get some, rain. But I think I could probably do it here in South Florida. But I would give them something.
Where are they native to? I thought they were more tropical. I guess it sounds like they're more like North, South America?
They're Southern South America. So like Argentina.
Oh, Southern.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uruguay, that area over there. And so it's kind of a strange climate. In fact, if you look at them on iNaturalist, the majority of the pictures of them on iNaturalist is basically a thorn scrub background. It's dry. There's thorny plants. There's succulents. Like it's very strange, very different than what most people, would think for a species like that. I see a lot of people set them up, tropical and jungly. We even have them on exhibit at the zoo, and they're set up in a rainforest-esque exhibit. But yeah, they're from like a thorn scrub habitat, which is, very strange. So yeah, they're a neat species. People are really catching on to them now. I see people getting into them because they're blue, but they come in green, bright blue, and then there's like a chocolatey brown variety as well. And then there's like sort of mixes in between of all those. And I talked to somebody from Argentina one time, and he said in the area where he lives, the blue ones are the most common. And you can get them in any clutch. We're still trying to figure out the genetics of it, but there's clutches that have greens and blues. Someone on Facebook just produced a clutch with green, blue, and brown all in the same clutch. I forget what the pairing was. It might have just been a green to a green pairing, but
so it's kind of like Amazon tree boas in that extent, where you're going to kind of get a mix of everything.
Yeah, you're going to get a mix. When you do blue to blue, you get blue babies, but with the other ones you can get sort of a mix, just like Amazons, just like eyelashes. So it's kind of fun to play around with. But where he comes from, he says, "Oh, we mostly see the blue ones. Occasionally you see the green ones, no brown ones." He said those are up north. So the browns maybe seems like a locality thing. I don't know. There's so much, to learn about them. And not a lot of people have focused on them. But like I said, it's starting to shift a little bit. And
how do you set them up? Do they spend time off the ground as well, or are they kind of more of a terrestrial, or they do everything?
Oh, they'll climb. Yeah, they'll climb. They'll crawl arout. They'll do whatever. They don't soak like the rhino rat snakes. But they definitely will climb. So if I could do like a 12-foot by 6-foot by 6 or 8 foot tall enclosure, I think they would be just loving it out there. The more space you can give them.
And those are also a rear fang venomous. Is that something that do you treat them like that, or is it not really anything to worry about?
I personally don't. I'm careful when I open their enclosures. If I need to get them out, I use a hook, just because their feeding response is insane. I mean, they're a grab and coil kind of snake, and they'll hit things hard. And so whenever I open, I use the hook and I pull them out. But once I have them out, I handle them as normal. They're not a bitey species in terms of defense. They'll musk, and they're very jerky, but they're not really bitey. The rhino rats will bite the crap out of you. They'll bite you, and they'll chew on you. I know there's one species within Philadrius, the Baron's racer genus, that did cause a human fatality. But I think it was one of those cases where, nothing was treated. It was a very remote location. Perhaps there was some anaphylaxis. I don't think it was actually from the venom. So I don't treat them any differently than I would a Western hognose or anything like that. At the zoo, we do have a tools only rule with the Baron's racers and our false water cobras. We don't have to call in, a code 60, which is when we're working venomous. We usually call it to security. We don't have to have a second person, but we do have only tools, no free handling of the Barons and the false water cobras. It's just, just to play it safe. There's no reason why you shouldn't play it safe. So, but at home, I find that they're really easy to handle as long as you get past that feeding response. That's the only.
Yeah.
They'll shoot out of there like a mamba. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, so now you're reminding me why I went with the Japanese rat snake.
Yeah, I love
these guys.
Japanese rats. They're super cool. Yeah.
They are cool.
Yeah.
I wanted to, maybe we could wrap up the discussion talking about the skull and skeleton collections, because that's another